Denis, I think, created something where I must be slow, or there was something unintelligent about this part of myself that I finished this movie and I go, I don't know how it's going to turn out. And I think he created an ambience where it was totally collective, totally communicative, but also didn't give you a feeling of accomplishment, which I think is in the movie. When you watch the movie, you feel just a little uneasy, you're pulled in, but something is amiss, and that's how it felt doing the movie. So when we watched the movie, it was like, wow, I had no idea.
Denis Villeneuve has carved an interesting lane in his filmography. His willingness to explore dense and heavy subjects while not forsaking story has made him one of the great auteur directors of recent memory. Tackling themes of religion, identity, and human nature in an ever-changing world makes his work consistently relevant to our times and serves to create impactful discussions about the meaning of life and existential dread that we all face. This is no different than the film I'm about to discuss in this essay, Prisoners, where Villeneuve explores these themes and more. I'll take a look at the film through a gnostic lens and see what critiques the director is making about religion, human nature, and morality. As always, I'll try to dive deep into the symbolism and draw meaning from this layered work. So a quick warning, spoilers ahead. The movie begins with the protagonist of the story, Keller, played by Hugh Jackman, quoting the Lord's Prayer before his son kills a feeding doe.
And the glory are yours, now and forever. Amen.
This prayer is meant to humble the servant of God and ask for his mercy. It's one that's used for seeking contentment and protection in God from an imperfect world. Already we're given the inklings to the plot of the film, as this scene foreshadows the struggle of the main character, who must deal with the crisis of faith after the kidnapping of his young daughter. Keller's character is a stand-in for Christianity in this film, a humble carpenter, doomsday prepper, and family man.
Barely get enough carpentry work to keep up with a mortgage.
The blocking in the scene has the characters revealed with their back to us, the father and son duo potentially another callback to Christian motifs, and Keller's own relationship with his father, which is revealed later in the film.
You know the most important thing your granddad ever taught me? Be ready.
The setting in this first scene gives us a look into the battle between man and nature, specifically how civilization is a guise to conceal our true nature, religion providing the structure so that we can find meaning, however little we actually believe in the word itself. Villeneuve has some fun with names in his film, with Keller meaning cellar water. This speaks to the idea of stagnation that plagues characters throughout the film, as the rotely religious are challenged by the evils of the world that they sought protection from in God. It is of note that Keller is in a position of power in this scene, his rifle aimed at the powerless doe, unsuspecting of the predators that lie in ambush. This is similar to the predatory nature of the kidnappers, who steal the innocent girls from the safety of their homes and do so in an act of war against God, furthering the parallels between Keller and the Joneses, his daughter's kidnappers.
Making children disappear is the war we wage with God. Makes people lose their faith. Turns them into demons like you.
Juxtaposing Keller with that of Detective Loki, his introduction is similar, with the slow zoom to his figure, back turned toward the camera. However, he's completely alone, in an empty restaurant. Unlike Keller's in nature, Loki is in an establishment, mulling over his fortune cookie and his zodiac symbol before he gets word about the missing girls and takes the case.
All units. An RV was reported matching the description. Vehicle is parked at a rest stop off Route 46 northbound past exit 17.
The rest of the film is establishing these two characters, their motives as they make their way through the maze. It is in defining their characters that we better understand the motive of the director and the meaning of the film. Loki as a gnostic figure creates meaning from himself. Self-knowledge is what propels his engagement with the world. He shows an interest in a multitude of traditions. On his neck a tattoo of an 8-pointed star, which is a pagan symbol that's used to ward off evil. His Freemason ring showing his pursuit of knowledge and familiarity with the occult. And his interest and discussion of zodiac signs and symbols as a foreshadow in his symbolic struggle throughout the film.
My boss is a rooster.
So he's selfish and eccentric. That's...
Loki in his investigation is not only looking for a motive, but for meaning. The clues and symbols throughout the film are challenging the viewer to grapple with the same internal struggle as Hugh Jackman's character Keller. The snakes that Loki discovers after apprehending Bob Taylor, symbolizing the dirtying of Eden. Recreated scenes from Taylor's own abduction included the fascination with the serpent shared with his abductor, Mr. Jones.
You all done for the night?
Yeah, the ground's frozen solid. It's gonna take weeks to excavate the entire property. Just found some dead snakes and shit.
Like the Minotaur in the maze, Bob Taylor's obsession is his regression to beast. Chasing his desires shows his inability to know himself, and thus the lack of an identity, as he assumes those characteristics of his captors. The same lost child has now grown into a lost man.
It's the last maze in the book. I did it. It's unsolvable. There's no way out. Your corpse he's another wannabe. Read the book.
The recurring maze imagery in the film is a direct reference to the Gnostic labyrinth of initiation, representing the journey of the wayward soul towards enlightenment.
It looks more like a maze than a map.
He's got a thing for mazes.
Inspired by the tale of the Minotaur, trapped by the architect Daedalus for King Minos of Crete, the maze serves as a prison for the Minotaur, which was half beast, half man. This was symbol of the state of the human condition, in that we are battling our lower self in order to attain the next stage of our spiritual evolution. The maze is a prison for the beast. However, the labyrinth is a rite of passage for the seeker of knowledge. A maze is riddled with dead ends, whereas a labyrinth has a pathway to its center. And in this way, the two girls represent the center of the maze, the light of innocence and purity. The journey to find them sheds light on the character's own spiritual state, the thinly disguised facade of social etiquette, and the lengths we go to once our bestial nature overcomes our rational, spiritual side.
He's not a person anymore. No, he stopped being a person when he took our daughters.
Unlike Loki, Keller's character has meaning assigned to him from external forces: morality through his religion, protector through his family, and survivor due to the experiences of his father.
You know the most important thing your granddad ever taught me? Be ready. Hurricane, flood, whatever it ends up being.
If we look at this tale through the lens of Gnosticism, it's Loki's character that shows a determination and consistency that should be afforded to the characters rooted in external tradition. However, we see these religious men and women succumb to the moment and be overtaken by their bestial nature. The ex-priest in the film is a murderer, literally keeping skeletons in his closet.
Hey, you know what? I spent 6 years in the Huntington Boys Home, Father. Hey, you know the Huntington Boys Home, right? Huh? Hurting a like you would be a real treat for me. Why don't you tell me his name?
Keller uses prayers to frame his engagement with God, asking for clarity and forgiveness in moments that he's actually oppressing and torturing an innocent man.
Thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us.
He acts as a vessel for revenge and divine retribution, however mistaken his sense of justice could be. Keller, who resembles the outward nature of the Christian archetype, inwardly is as lost as Bob Taylor. His moral framework is unable to withstand the first instance of challenge.
You made me feel so safe. You told us that you could protect us from everything.
He becomes consumed in rage, hatred, and anxiety, all features of a lack of faith in the God who has let this situation come to be. And rather than grappling with the situation in a way that fits the moral framework of a meek Christian carpenter, he becomes a stand-in for Jack Bauer. His actions are similar to the biblically cursed leaders of Korah, who feigned their religiosity to hide their uncertainty and rebellion toward Moses. And as Korah attributed his power, agency, wealth, and gifts to his own knowledge and not of God, was punished by being swallowed by the earth. And Keller, suffering the same fate, is trapped in the center of the maze.
Do you understand that? Me, not you, but me!
Denis Villenueve captures the existential dread when meaning is lost and our fundamental beliefs about the world are challenged. However, he provides the example of a detective Loki as someone who's able to create meaning and find enlightenment through reason, logic, and distance. If we shift the perspective, there are no dead ends, and the prison of the maze becomes the path of the labyrinth. I want to thank you all who stayed tuned in. I hope you can give me a like, subscribe, and comment if you appreciated anything about this video. Feel free to explore my channel more for other essays. If you're so inclined, my Patreon is set up now to help the channel grow. And as always, thank you for watching.
Hey.